There are many varieties and many ways to enjoy mangoes. This technique will show one way to preserve them in the freezer for future enjoyment. It's best to know when the best time is for picking and enjoying the mangoes. Mangoes start off green, and then they become this purple color, and then they become orangey yellow. When they turn to the most brilliant of yellow, red, and orange, and even pink, that's at the prime time. A ready picked mango has a clear, almost sticky, but very fragrant smell and the liquid that comes from the stem of just picked. If it's not clear and it's rather milky, then it's not quite ripe, and one should keep the mango for a couple of days until it turns the right yellow color and eliminates some of this purple and green. Of course, some people like their mangoes very soft and mushy and ripe, and others prefer them a little more solid in chunk texture. It should be interesting to note, prior to beginning to peel a mango, that all mangoes have a oblong center core nut. This nut also has been removed and has been cleaned, but it has a very fibrous part to it. This can be a real strategy to remove, and many people get frustrated in the preparation of peeling and cutting mangoes. It should be noted that the nut is always in this configuration, so that'll be a big help as we proceed to our next step. The key to easy mango cutting technique is to have a thin, slightly flexible knife that can be used to follow the contours of the mango. First, the best way to cut a mango is to flatten it out and revealing exactly where the center core is that we will learn how to avoid. Then we process it by following the outside peeling in this fashion. And it's important to try to balance the mango so it doesn't slip out of your hands and you don't have a cutting accident. Partly by cutting the mango in this fashion, you're creating flat edges that serve to stabilize and to better allow you to secure and balance it with your fingers. Now, we set the mango up on the prepared first cut, and we can see that and estimate where the core is in the middle. As we know that it's an oblong, rather thin, almond-shaped core, and we take our first cut and we get a nice perfect half. Then we follow our estimate and try to isolate where the rest of the nut is in the middle to allow us to get one more further big cut. And this is where it gets tricky, because you have to balance the mango so it doesn't slip out. It's very juicy, and you can see we delicately avoid the area where the fibrous end of the nut would tend to be. We can cut a little bit to trim it, and we see that this is exactly where the nut is. We can discard the nut. Later on, I'll show you the best way to plant that if you want to preserve the seed for use in a temperate tropical type of a climate, particularly in South Florida, South Texas, and South California. And so this is a terrific way of having nice chunks where you could freeze very well and enjoy at any time of the year or use in any other recipe combination. Once your mango has been peeled and you're left with the core, you may be wondering if there's any further use. In fact, mangoes that are of certain cultivars or certain varieties will not grow true to seed, meaning that planting these seeds will perhaps come out to a different variety altogether from the one that you've already eaten and enjoyed. But it's always an interesting experiment to see what the next generation of mangoes will bring. Normally, from the time that the seeds are planted to the time that they're ready for harvest can be between 3, 5 to 10 years. So it might be worthwhile to plant a lot of seeds so you can see what will transpire. Now, the best way to have these seeds germinate, of course, you could plant them directly as soon as you've cored the mango, but that runs the risk that they might be dug up again by other critters, or that because they're still wet, that the seeds and the husk itself will rot. The best way is to wash it out, and you'll discover that all mango seeds here have a little bit of a tuft. Now, by taking your knife and having the seed in your hand in such a way, this is a very weak part of the husk, so it very effortlessly gets penetrated. It has to be only on that side because the other side here is very, very strong. Now take your thumbs and pry these apart, and then it reveals the perfect seed that's almost like in a kidney shaped. Drying these out can help preserve these to be planted at the most appropriate time of the year. We'll try it one more time with another cleaned husk. We notice that here's the flange. Sometimes it can be very tricky, but try to be of a light touch. The springing action of the husk can be a little bit resistant, but eventually it gives and emerges like so. This also is a covering of the seed, and eventually it's a protective covering that once the seed itself dries can fall off, and it really has no bearing on the sproutability of the seed. Once this is dry, it's perfect to be placed in the ground, and from this nub is where the new sprout will emerge.